Hey guys, welcome to the Xplor show. Today we have Max on the show. Max Fish, he is a commercial real estate guru when it comes to industrial leasing and tenant and landlord rep. Max, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
Yeah, Max, tell us a little bit about yourself. So you specialize in industrial, correct?
Yep, that's the bulk of my business is industrial leasing and sales, mostly business parks.
Are you in what part of the country are you typically working in?
Tucson, Arizona.
Tucson, Arizona. Oh, that's a hot market. Arizona has blown up.
Yep, yep. A lot of migration here, a lot of business coming here. And our trouble is finding space at this point. So sub 3% vacancy.
Are you doing any new development stuff down there personally, or are you doing mainly resale, releasing?
Not a whole lot of development. Development's been pretty tough lately with construction pricing. So a lot of projects have been put on hold.
Yeah, no, we've done a couple of industrial developments. I got one in Little Rock, Arkansas. Just got TCO on here a couple of weeks back, but we had a few other projects in the pipeline, and they've all been put on hold right now. It's crazy. The lenders are requiring a bunch more money down. I mean, they want somebody to already be signing a lease up front, and it's very hard to develop when you have to do all of that from the get go because they want most of those tenants. Would you agree want it now versus having to wait for a year and a half to get it?
No doubt. Yeah, for sure.
Now, Max, when it comes to commercial real estate, you have absolutely crushed it on the social media scene, and you don't see a ton of commercial real estate people on social media. Personally, I haven't. It seems like it's a much older crowd typically on the commercial real estate side. Tell us a little bit about your social strategy and kind of what made you come up with the idea of, hey, let's really hit social media hard when nobody else in this industry really does it.
Yeah, so before I even got into the industry, I saw opportunity with SEO and social media for commercial real estate because the age group is mostly boomers. And so I got into the market in 16, and my goal then was really to build a lead generating website because it was being done so much in residential and so many other industries, but not being tapped in commercial. And so what I did is I created a website called industrialtucson.com. I
Okay.
started writing blog posts, videos, that kind of stuff, and then posting them on Facebook, on LinkedIn, Instagram, drove traffic to my website. So there was so much traffic on my website that Google started ranking me really high. People started finding me on Google as they were searching for commercial real estate in Tucson. And then it just lit my business on fire. Started doing a lot of deals from Google.
Wow. Where did you learn how to do all this? Where did you come up with this idea? I guess was your previous work in that space, or were you just doing some research and thought, man, this industry is untapped. I should really hit it here.
Yeah, so I was in residential before, and so I built out a few websites there. And really, I was watching YouTube videos and reading books on SEO, stuff like that. And then, it worked well in residential, and I thought that it would work even better in commercial.
All right. So you are a transplant from residential to commercial. Why did you do that? Why did you switch over to commercial from residential?
The commercial side was a little more numbers driven. That appealed to me. It doesn't hurt when you see those press releases in the newspaper. And I just thought it was an area dominated by an older generation that offered opportunity to, newer ideas and technology, social media, SEO.
It's funny that you say that. So I've been in the residential side for the last several years here in Kansas City, and that's kind of why I got into the residential side originally was, I was out of college working my first jobs, and I was wanting to get into investing in real estate, and I kept calling different agents and brokers on signs. And it seemed like every single person that I would meet out at these residential properties that I was hoping to buy were older. And I was like, wow, there is nobody young that I have met with yet in this industry. And I thought, you know what? I've got a lot of friends that are going to start buying here pretty soon, and jumped right into it. Now
Yeah,
it seems like that has really shifted on the residential side, where there is quite a large number of young professionals have got into that industry in the past 3 or 4 years, especially. Would you agree?
definitely. Yep. And we're starting to see that a little bit in commercial, but just not to the effect of residential. That's for sure.
Commercial's a lot harder to tap, in my opinion. It's somewhat still, don't take this in a negative way, but it's still somewhat of a good old boys club, in my opinion. You just got to kind of know somebody or really be able to have the drive to do it on your own. Because if you don't know the right people, it's very hard to tap that network because it is so old school.
Yeah, that's for
Now,
sure.
did you get into it on your own, or did you jump in and join a team, or how did you go about starting to get transactions in the space?
So I worked with a few older brokers at Cushman for 4 or 5 years. And then about 2.5 years ago, branched off with one of those brokers. And it's just me and him now.
Very nice, man. That's awesome. When it comes to, let's talk a little bit about leasing and kind of how one gets into commercial real estate and the difference between, selling a building and leasing a building, and the difference between being a landlord rep versus a tenant rep. Give us a little bit of a breakdown. If you're going to list an industrial building, what does that look like?
Yeah. How is it different from residential or?
Well, no. So, like on the leasing side, yeah, we can talk a little bit about how it's different. But like, if you get called by a owner of an industrial building,
Yeah,
what steps are you taking to understand? Okay, here's what this building is going to lease for. Here is our target market. These are the things we're going to advertise out to individuals.
sure. So, I want to show up to that appointment with comps in hand, whether it be lease comps or sales comps, give this owner a good idea of what their building looks like. And then something that clicked for me, because I'm pretty young and I was very self-conscious about it at first. And something that clicked for me is that when I go into a listing appointment, I want to use my youth to my advantage. And so I really stress my skills with social media and SEO and my website. So that's something that I've found that works really well. When I meet with an owner, one of the things that I like to stress is my age and how that benefits them with social media and SEO and my website. So,
Yes.
yeah, I used to be really self-conscious about it until I thought about it that way.
And I think that, tell me if I'm wrong, but that really, what you can, I guess, sell there to the owner or the individual that you're talking to at that building is, hey, our reach is going to be so much bigger than, your old school broker that doesn't have the social following that I do. So we're going to get tens of thousands of clicks and views that might find somebody overseas that would be interested in this, that otherwise would never have the ability to see or know that this is an opportunity on the market. Is that correct?
You're exactly right. Yeah.
No, that's
And
huge.
I'll tell these owners, like, they're not driving around, looking for property anymore. They're going on their phone or on their laptop. And so it's my job to get your property out to as many buyers or as many tenants as we can to get you the highest price and the least amount of time on the market.
Exactly. And if people don't know what they don't know, so if they don't see it, how do they even know that there's an opportunity there to put a building or to lease something out and put a whole new business? I think social media has changed that game. Again, starting in the residential, it started there, but really now in the social or on the commercial side, I've got a property I just listed last week, and I've had calls from people that I've just sent it out to on Twitter, and guys from
Yeah.
Canada, guys from the West Coast, the East Coast, all over the country that I don't really know them. Without social media, I would have had no clue to send it to any of them.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's the power of it.
It is. It really is. What kind of features are you looking for when you're pricing up, what this building is going to lease for and what we're going to put it to market at? What features are you looking for, regarding square footage, sprinklers, clear heights, door height? What does that look like?
Yeah, clear height's super important nowadays. I would say fence yard is probably the most important in my market, outdoor storage.
That's really
It's
changed in the last year or two too, hasn't it? It seems like
it
everybody
has.
wants that now.
Yeah, yeah, and if you have a building where you can add outdoor storage, that's a huge bonus too.
Do you did that and caused that because people fear now shortages again? Is that kind of what you think, or why do you think that is?
I think it has more to do with the construction market more than anything. A lot of people that need outdoors and logistics as well. A lot of truck parking. I think a bulk of it though has a lot to do with material storage, at least in my market. why pay a premium to store your materials in a warehouse when you can store it out in a yard, whether it be lumber or metals or whatever.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And then, okay, door height. Why is that important?
Door height, it depends on your user. I would say, if you're pulling semis into a building, there are some auto shops that serve semis or RVs. They'll need 14-foot doors. Different materials, for example, granite fabrication, they need 14-foot doors because of how the slabs are when they get them wholesale. So, I did a lease with HE Parts International, their mining division. They have these massive mining parts. We had 14-foot doors. So we were able to lease it to them when they couldn't find anything else out in the market. So door height can definitely be important, and you can get a premium on rent if you have, bigger doors.
Now let's talk about clear height. When we're talking about roof height, a lot of these logistic companies are leasing out industrial warehouse space, right? And their racking systems are now so tall that ceiling clear height is a key feature for them because they want to be able to put a 30-foot rack in this building or whatever, 28-foot rack. So your clearance height has to be what, 36 foot on average on new build right now. What does that look like in your market? Are you guys seeing a lot of 36-foot clear now being developed, or?
Yeah, pretty much right around 36, even 32, higher than that. I haven't really seen, but clear height's very important to distributors because they can save a little bit on their rent and pack more in.
Yeah, no, and that those racks have just become bigger and bigger and bigger. It seems like every year those systems are becoming more sophisticated and taller. Do
Right.
you guys see a premium for the taller height? Do you get a premium on your leasing for that?
You can, to be honest, we don't have a ton of, spec construction for that kind of space right now because it's pretty much on hold. And our market, in a sense, is kind of gridlocked. When vacancy is sub 3%, there's not much construction going on. So that's kind of the reality right now. Transaction volume's less.
Sub 3% vacancy. Holy cow. And you don't
Yes.
have much new product coming to market. Sounds like those rates are going to continue to go up then.
Right. Yeah.
What is,
There's just not much movement.
yeah, what are rates right in your area?
It depends on the product, the location, ceiling height, yard, all that kind of stuff. So, spec stuff, 70, 75 cents net.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's not bad. In regards to tenants, do you see a lot of out-of-state tenants coming into your market or out-of-country tenants coming into your market, or are they more local tenants? Let's talk about that a little bit.
A mix of both. I would say we had a bigger rush from out of state or even out of country tenants or even buyers during 21 and even 22. It slowed down a little bit. And I think most of that was just supply chain challenges from overseas and, companies want to bring their supply chain back. I think that's tapered off a little bit though. But, we had a massive wave of migration, not only from just people moving here, but moving their businesses here, mostly from California. I even did some relocations from New York, Chicago, Washington State, even. So, but that's slowed a little bit.
Okay. And what's your average tenant look like? Are they going to be distribution companies or manufacturing, or what are you typically working with?
I mostly deal in the flex space. So, kind of your mid size. And, we have some distribution, a lot of material suppliers. We have a decent amount of fence yard stuff. So, contractors, material suppliers, different companies that serve the housing market or construction. So that's mostly our tenant base.
Okay. And when it comes to you personally, so you're doing about 70 to 80 deals a year. Is that accurate?
Right. Yeah.
And is it just you, or do you have a team, or?
So I have an assistant. Yep. It's my broker who syndicates a lot. And so I do a lot of leasing and sales for him. And then I do third party as well. And then we have an assistant and an
Wow.
in-house property manager as well. So,
Okay, so you guys manage all these properties on your own. All right. What does it look like on the management side of these industrial buildings? What do you guys typically charge for something like that?
Well, I don't really get too involved on that because my broker, he's the syndicator. So he's, I got the easy part of the job. I'm leasing and sales. So I don't know too much about the property management side, to be honest.
I wouldn't say it's easy by any means, but it's definitely the more fun part of it, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Well, what else? I mean, what else should we know about you when it comes to commercial real estate? Like, what if somebody's new getting into it? What would you tell them? What would you advise them in regards to social strategy or building a book?
First
Business
of all,
or
I would say I think the most important part of success in commercial real estate is picking a niche. So, whether you're going into brokerage or you're syndicating, whatever it may be, pick a niche. Like once I drilled down on industrial, people sought me out for industrial. I understand, those different intricacies like we talked earlier, door height, ceiling height, power, industrial outdoor storage, all that. And when you become an expert in a niche like that, people seek you out. So pick a niche, and then the next step is to become omnipresent in that niche. So you want everyone who's in, for example, industrial in Tucson, whether it be industrial business owners or building owners, to know who you are and what you do. So when I started, I cold called, I door knocked, I even sent snail mail. I would handwrite the owner's name on an envelope so they would actually open it. So all of these owners, they couldn't get my name out of their head.
yeah, yeah.
So I think be omnipresent and then also leverage that social media and SEO side of it. And the SEO side of it and generating leads from online is actually really simple. And I would tell people just not to overthink it. Like just make a website and blog about your market, post it up on your social media, drive traffic to your website, and then people will start finding you on Google. But just be omnipresent to your niche and provide value to those people in that world.
Value is always key, and that's the biggest thing. If you can provide value, business comes your way.
Right. And I think at first when we start off, we're really nervous about cold calling or door knocking. But when it clicked for me was when I started providing value to those people that I was reaching out to, whether it be comps or a market report or, this company moved here, or whatever. These people want to know what's going on in the market. So if you make it a little more casual, provide some value, it'll go a lot further.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. That's how I would say on on our business, the same thing is we built it all through providing value to people way long before they ever gave us any business. And we just continued to hammer down on that. And then things just kind of the floodgates open.
Absolutely.
We were always giving, 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 never taking. And then finally it started to so that any entrepreneur, business owner, somebody wanting to get into real estate, that is probably the best advice I could give. It sounds like the best advice Max can give is just provide value any way possible. And things, it can take time, but things will come your way. If you are in a niche and you are providing constant value to these people, they will give you business at some point.
Right. And like you said, they can take a little time. It took a couple years for me to start making some money, and there was some pain up front. But I tweeted recently, it's like, why do most people find success in their third year? It's because most people drop out in their first and second year. So it's an endurance race. You have to just stay in there
Yeah.
and, kind of trust the process. And it's tough during your first 2 years, but just keep going. You brand yourself. Other people drop out, other brokers retire, and then you're in a great spot.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The third year is pretty key. Some people a little bit faster, but it does take 2 to 3 years to really build that pipeline. Heck, you're learning for the first year, just trying to understand the market if you're doing it right. And then by the third year, these owners or management companies or whatever else continue to see your name and the information you're providing, and it gets better and better each time. So they're
Right.
finally thinking, "Oh wow, you know what? My old broker has retired, like you mentioned, or hasn't really reached out to me. Let's go ahead and give Max a call and see what he might lease this thing up for before we call our other broker."
Right.
So, well, that's awesome, Max. One question for you. If you could go back and restart your real estate career, residential, commercial, whatever it might be, would you go straight into the commercial side of things or would you do it different in any way?
I don't know. I'm pretty happy. I've learned a lot. So, I would say I'm happy with my path, but if other people are, weighing different options, I would say if you want to go into commercial, then go for it right away.
Yeah. No, did you feel like the residential side helped you in the commercial side?
Yes, definitely.
I think just getting those transactions under your belt fast is a significant win. In the residential side, it just seems like you could make that happen a little faster, just to kind of feel what it's like to go through transactions and how it works to do contracts and deal with earnest money and deal with negotiating and deal with inspections, all these things. And then you could translate that over. You can, the commercial side is more, in my opinion, business to business versus business to consumer, like the
Right.
retail side is. So you're having some higher minded conversations, a lot less emotion on the
Right.
commercial side. It is more just about numbers.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
I mean,
residential people get very emotional.
yeah, that's for sure.
Well, Max, where can people find you if they want to find you? I know you're big on Twitter. Give us kind of a little bit of rundown of where people could find you and follow you.
Yeah, Commercial Real Estate Max on Twitter. Check out my website, industrialtucson.com, to, kind of check out how, I generate leads through that site. And then Commercial Real Estate Max on Instagram as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today. We will be sure to send you any deals or give you a shout on anything we have going in Tucson, Arizona. I hope we can work together here in the future. And thank you, everybody, for listening. We will be back here shortly.